Let's get an update from our state medical professionals. And joining me is Alvina Chu. She's the epidemiologist with the Florida Department of Health in Orange County. Hi, Alvina. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Alvina, today we're going to do a little bit something different. We're going to talk about the myths that are out there about the COVID-19 vaccine. So I'm going to read a myth and then I'll have you respond to it with your professional knowledge. So let's get started. Number one, the COVID vaccine is unsafe because it was developed so quickly.
So the COVID vaccine was actually developed pretty much in the same way we developed every other vaccine, with the same kind of steps and processes and review boards in place. And so the quickness was because we did these steps at the same time, and they don't necessarily all have to be sequential as they had been in the past. A lot of the technologies that we've used to develop these new vaccines are technologies that we've already had in use previously for other purposes. And so the COVID vaccines have been reviewed in the same way we review other vaccines and are very safe.
Excellent. All right, so myth number two. I've already had COVID-19, so I don't need the vaccine.
So right now, we're still trying to develop more or gather more information about how long immunity lasts after you've had a natural infection. And just, we don't really know a lot about just how strong that immunity is after you've had natural infection. And so the COVID vaccines have been evaluated to be really good at preventing you from getting severe illness and possibly, dying from natural infection. And so we would really encourage everyone to get the vaccine to protect them from these severe illnesses, especially if you're in a higher risk group for developing severe illness.
All right, and so our next myth is I have already received the vaccine, so I don't need to wear a mask.
Right, so we still are encouraging people to practice the good pandemic precautions. Right now, not everybody has received the vaccine. And so as long as there are people who, or our community doesn't have yet the immunity to help us tamp down the pandemic, it's important for everyone to continue to practice the good pandemic precautions. One part is we haven't evaluated the vaccines for the transmission. So we know the vaccine is really good at preventing illness and severe illness and deaths, but unsure, although it's unlikely that you could still transmit. But until we get that information, please, everyone should practice the good pandemic precautions, whether you've already been vaccinated or not.
All right, so the next myth is, since the vaccines are now available, the pandemic will be over soon.
So right now we're in this race of trying to build the herd immunity or the community immunity to prevent outrace mutations. And so one concern that we have is the vaccine is really good at the preventing illnesses and severe illnesses and deaths. And we would like that to continue, but we need everyone to help us get the pandemic under control so that the mutations don't outpace the ability for us to provide good immunity.
And here is a myth that I've actually heard. The COVID-19 vaccine causes severe side effects.
So currently the COVID-19 vaccine has not been shown to have caused any severe side effects. People do get some kind of mild reaction, which happens with a lot of vaccines. At the localized site of your injection, you might feel some soreness for about a day or two. And some people do get a mild systemic sort of reaction, which is basically your body's immune system working to build that immunity. So you might feel maybe a low-grade fever, or you might have a headache, but those symptoms are mild and go away after a few days. So the vaccine has not been linked to any severe side effects in general. So there are some people, say if you have known severe allergies, who have had allergic reactions, but in general overall, there hasn't been any link to severe side effects.
And my mother, who's 87 years old, just got her vaccine and she is fine. So you're absolutely right.
Great. My parents as well, in their mid-80s, just got their vaccine.
Exactly. They're great. So here's the next myth. COVID-19 survival rate is high, so therefore I don't need to get the vaccine.
So, it depends on who you are. There are many people in our population who are at a greater risk for severe illness and death. And so, we, as well as that, for them getting the vaccine to protect themselves from this illness, we should all get the vaccine to protect those around us. And there will be some people who will not be able to get the vaccine. And so, for our community, it's recommended that we all get the vaccine when it's our time to protect the rest of our community and to build that community protection, and so that we can get the pandemic under control and get back to our new normal.
All right, so here is another myth. If a COVID-19 vaccine requires 2 doses, I really only need 1 dose.
So the COVID vaccines have been evaluated to provide the best immunity after 2 doses. So they vary on the degree of protection that's provided after a single dose. And so there is in development actually a single dose vaccine, which is the Johnson & Johnson, which hopefully will be approved soon by the FDA for use in the United States. But for those 2 dose vaccine series, it's recommended that you get the second dose to completely build the immunity as the vaccines were designed for.
Exactly. Okay, Alvina, so I'm going to leave the last myth for you, which is quite an interesting one. Here's our final myth. The COVID-19 vaccine includes a microchip tracking device.
So I don't even have any explanation or words for that, except that it's just not true.
Well, I appreciate you going along with our exercise today for the myths. And this is actually very serious information because so many people are out there with all of these things that they've heard. And the truth is in science. And so we appreciate you coming on today and sharing this science with us, Alvina.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you so much.
And of course, we'll be right back with more. Stay with us.